All right, let's dive in. We're tackling cybersecurity advice today. Straight from the source, an article called Three Things I Wish I Knew. Do not go into cybersecurity without knowing this.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. It's pretty blunt. But hey, sometimes you need that.
Yeah, no sugarcoating here. It's from someone who's been in the trenches. They want to help others avoid the same mistakes.
Exactly. They're not holding back. Makes it a more authentic read.
And they hit you with a big one right off the bat. Networking. No way around it, they say. You got to know your stuff.
And they tell this story, right, about trying to skip over the deep networking knowledge early in their career. Yeah, well, it backfired.
Made their job 10 times harder, huh?
I could only imagine. Try to protect a network without understanding how data moves through it. It's like trying to fix a car engine without knowing how the parts connect.
Okay, so it's more than just like setting up your home Wi-Fi, right? What makes networking so essential for actually defending against attacks?
Think of it this way. Say there's a data breach. You're investigating. Understanding network traffic logs, that's gold. It tells you how the attacker got in,
Right.
what systems they touched, maybe even what data they got away with.
So you need to speak the language of networks or you're lost.
Exactly. You're flying blind without it.
So what are we talking about specifically? What networking skills are must-haves?
Well, the article mentions the CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Associate. It's a good starting point. Covers the basics like IP addressing, subnetting, routing.
Break those down for me. What's the cybersecurity connection with, say, IP addresses?
Okay, so an IP address, think of it like a home address. Every device on a network has a unique one. Now, imagine an attacker, right? They spoof an IP address to impersonate a trusted device. Sneaky.
Oh, wow. So without knowing about IP addresses and how they work, you could be totally fooled.
You wouldn't even know you're looking at a bad guy in disguise.
That's a little unsettling. So strong networking skills are essential for spotting those kind of tactics.
Absolutely. And it's not just about stopping attacks. It's also about building secure systems in the first place. Like if you're designing network infrastructure, understanding concepts like subnetting. It's crucial. It's the difference between a strong, segmented network and one that's, well, wide open to attack.
So it's offense and defense, knowing how networks work so you can protect them, but also knowing how an attacker might use that knowledge against you.
Exactly. And that actually leads perfectly into the next point the author makes. Salary expectations. Got to keep it real.
Yeah, because there's this myth floating around that everyone in cybersecurity is making six figures right out of the gate. The author kind of bursts that bubble pretty quickly.
Yeah, they do. They talk about starting out more in the $50,000, $60,000 range, which, is a decent starting salary, but it's not instant riches.
Right, but the potential is there, right? I mean, these skills are in such high demand, your earning potential can really take off.
Absolutely. And that's a point the author makes too. Well, starting salaries might not be crazy high. If you specialize in a high demand area, like say cloud security, as you get more experience, you can definitely command a higher salary.
So it's a long game,
Yeah.
investing in a career where your skills just become more and more valuable.
Exactly. And speaking of not needing to know everything, that's the author's last point. You don't have to be a master of all things cybersecurity to be successful.
Oh, thank goodness for that, because looking at all the different areas within cybersecurity, it can be so overwhelming.
Yeah, and the author makes a great point. You don't have to know it all. You just have to find your niche. You don't have to be a master of penetration testing, cloud security, incident response all at once.
So go deep in one or two areas instead of being a jack of all trades. I like that.
Exactly. It's like think of a surgical team, right? You have the surgeon who's the specialist in the procedure, you've got the anesthesiologist managing the patient's vital signs, and you've got the nurses assisting and monitoring. They all play critical roles, but they're not all trying to be surgeons.
I love that analogy. So instead of getting bogged down by the sheer size of cybersecurity, think of it as a team effort, everyone bringing their own strengths.
Exactly. And, you don't have to figure out your niche on day one either. Part of the journey is exploring, seeing what clicks for you.
That's reassuring. So we've got a foundation in networking, realistic salary expectations, and permission to specialize. Where do we go from here?
Okay, feeling a bit more prepared to navigate this whole cybersecurity world now, but one thing that strikes me is that it's always changing. How do you keep up with all the new threats, new technologies?
Yeah, that's the tricky part, and it's something the author kind of touches on. It's a constant back and forth. Security pros develop a defense, attackers find a new way to exploit something.
Like a digital arms race.
Yeah.
Sounds exhausting. Definitely keeps you on your toes. But remember all that talk about communities and networks. Those are so important in cybersecurity. Sharing knowledge, collaborating on solutions, keeping up with what's new.
So it's not just cybersecurity pros working solo, in a dark room somewhere.
Not at all. It's actually a super collaborative field. Think of it like a global network of defenders, constantly sharing information and strategies, trying to outsmart the bad guys.
Okay, I like that image. A digital neighborhood watch. So let's talk opportunities for a second. We know cybersecurity skills are in high demand, but what are some of the actual roles, career paths someone could look into?
Oh, there are so many. And they're always evolving with technology. But just to give you an idea, you have security analysts, they're on the front lines, monitoring systems, looking for anything suspicious, responding to incidents.
So they're kind of like digital detectives, analyzing clues, piecing together a cyber attack.
That's a great way to put it. And then there are penetration testers, sometimes called ethical hackers. They use their hacking skills for good, trying to break into systems. But the goal is to find vulnerabilities before the bad guys do.
So they get to think like the attackers, finding those weak spots before someone with bad intentions can exploit them.
Exactly. And then you have security engineers. They're the builders,
Yeah.
designing and implementing security solutions, making sure systems are secure from the ground up.
Sounds like there's a cybersecurity role for every personality type. Investigators, builders, analysts. It's incredible.
And that's just scratching the surface. There are also more specialized roles. Malware analysts, they dissect malicious code, like a digital autopsy. Forensic investigators, gathering evidence of cybercrimes. Security architects, designing comprehensive security plans for whole organizations.
It's a lot to take in. Feels like the possibilities in cybersecurity are pretty much endless. And with the rise of cloud computing, I bet there's a whole other world of security to consider there.
Oh, absolutely. Cloud security is huge right now. More businesses moving their operations online, which means the demand for professionals who know how to secure those systems, those applications, it's going through the roof.
So it's not just about protecting physical networks anymore. It's about securing this whole interconnected world we live in.
Exactly. And that's what makes this field so exciting. It's dynamic, always challenging you, always something new to learn.
Beyond the technical stuff, what really stands out to me is the impact this work has. I mean, cybersecurity pros are protecting critical infrastructure, financial systems, personal data. It's a big responsibility.
It is. And that sense of purpose, I think it draws a lot of people to this field. It's more than a job. It's a chance to make a real difference, protect people and organizations in this digital world.
We've talked a lot about technical skills, but what about the soft skills? What personality traits do you think are essential for a successful cybersecurity career?
That's a good question. You need the technical skills, sure, but they're only part of the equation. Communication skills are super important. Problem solving, critical thinking.
So even though you're working with technology, you still need to be able to relate to people.
Oh, absolutely. You'll be working with people all the time who maybe don't have your technical background, explaining security risks to executives, maybe walking someone through basic security steps. Clear communication is key.
And what about problem solving? I imagine that's pretty crucial in a field that's always dealing with new threats.
You're right. You have to be able to think on your feet, analyze the situation quickly, come up with solutions, sometimes under pressure.
So you got to be adaptable, resourceful,
Yeah,
a little bit MacGyver-ish, maybe?
exactly. And that all ties into critical thinking. Being able to look at a situation, see the information you have, recognize patterns, and make good judgments.
Sounds like a career where you never stop learning, never stop adapting, always pushing yourself to think outside the box.
It definitely is. And that's what makes it so challenging and rewarding.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in this cybersecurity deep dive. From the importance of networking skills to the surprising number of career paths you can take.
It's been great to unpack all this stuff, and I think it's really important that we've highlighted how cybersecurity goes way beyond just technical skills, those soft skills we talked about, communication, problem solving, critical thinking. Those are what make a good cybersecurity pro into an exceptional one.
And before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something the author emphasized that really stuck with me. Finding your niche within cybersecurity. Because it is such a huge field, it's easy to feel kind of lost.
It is, Trying to be a master of everything in cybersecurity is like trying to be, I don't know, a world-class chef, musician, and astronaut all at once. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The author's advice to specialize is spot on.
I like to picture it like a film crew. Everyone plays a crucial role, but not everyone's trying to direct the movie.
I like that analogy. You've got your security analysts, they're monitoring systems, they're like the editors carefully going through the footage. Then you've got your pen testers probing for those weaknesses, like the stunt team, making sure everything is safe and secure. And then you have your security engineers building and implementing solutions, just like the set designers, creating a functional and safe environment.
Each person is vital, but they're experts in their own area, working together towards the same goal. So that makes figuring out where you fit in all the more important. How would you recommend someone go about finding their cybersecurity niche?
Well, it's a journey, right? Start by exploring what really interests you, what makes you curious. Maybe you're fascinated by malware, how it works. Or maybe you get a kick out of finding and fixing vulnerabilities.
Or maybe you love that fast-paced world of incident response. You're the first one in when there's a cyber attack.
Right. Think about what excites you, what challenges you like, and what kind of impact you want to have in this world.
So it's not just about following a set path, it's about finding where your passions and the needs of the field kind of intersect. And once you find that niche, what are some ways to really build your expertise?
Well, we talked about some key strategies already. Getting those certifications, they show what you know. Hands-on experience through things like capture the flag competitions or virtual labs, engaging with the cybersecurity community, learning from others, staying updated.
It's that constant learning, isn't it? That seems to be a theme here.
It is. The cybersecurity landscape is always evolving. What's hot today could be old news tomorrow. So embrace the challenge, stay curious, and never stop learning. That's how you make it in this field.
Well, this deep dive has been really eye-opening. It's amazing to see just how much cybersecurity impacts our lives and how many opportunities there are to make a difference.
It has been a fascinating conversation. Hopefully it's helped clear up some of the mysteries surrounding cybersecurity and maybe even inspired you to think about a career in this field.
I think so. And as we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with a question. What unique skills and passions can you bring to the table in the fight to secure our digital future? Think about it, your cybersecurity adventure is out there waiting for you.